Hey there, fellow wanderers. As the sun sets behind the crooked line of medieval rooftops, you find yourself trudging along a dirt road, enveloped in the heavy scents of earth and wood smoke. The air crackles with the chill of approaching night, and distant bells toll in mournful acknowledgement of the day gone by. You can almost feel the coarse wool of your cloak, scratchy against your skin, as you pull it tighter to ward off the cold. The darkness envelops you like a solid thing, a reminder that nighttime in these times is profound and consuming. Welcome to the medieval world, a place where reality is as raw as the hard bread you might chew by the flickering flames of a low fire. Here, even the act of escaping reality of getting high was tangled in ritual, mystery, and survival. Forget rolling papers or vape pens. Think mandrake root, henbane, opium-laced mead, or wild mushrooms plucked with trembling fingers under moonlight. Intoxication was not just a means of pleasure, but often a spiritual journey, a healing ritual, or a last resort relief from chronic pain and emotional burden. This is not a fairy tale. Now, before we dive deeper into this journey through intoxicating history, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. Your journey tonight starts with understanding the remarkable array of mood-altering potions people in the Middle Ages concocted to escape the humdrum of their rugged lives. Here, in a dimly lit corner of a bustling medieval kitchen, a pot simmers with an assortment of leaves, roots, and seeds. The soft popping of the boiling brew punctuates the low murmur of conversation as you overhear snippets about the evening's concoction, a potent mixture, promising both vigor and visions. A mysterious woman with a stained apron studies the bubbling liquid. Her hands work with efficiency born of centuries of handed-down wisdom. Back then, the world was a harsh and unpredictable place, and people had to rely on what they could find in nature to alter their moods. From the exhilarating effects of a simple fermented honey mead to the complex combinations of plants known to professional apothecaries, the medieval folks were adept at crafting drinks and tinctures that offered brief reprieves from lives filled with toil. Whether it was to steel themselves for another day of labor or to seek solace after a loss, intoxicating potions were woven into the fabric of their daily existence. These potions, however, were not just limited to mundane fermentation. Among them were brews heightened with exotic spices such as nutmeg, which was rumored to carry aphrodisiac properties, and saffron, counted on to lift the spirits. Obtaining such spices required venturing into trades and transactions that could span multiple continents, a daunting prospect in a time when even a local trip could turn into an adventure worthy of bards. Such extravagant ingredients made these enticing elixirs not only stimulating, but also statements of status and wealth. While the church frowned upon excess revelry, not to say any potential pagan undertones, it acknowledged the need for the faithful to experience joy this side of heaven. Monasteries, repositories of ancient knowledge, as well as brewmasters ahead of their time, cultivated libraries of monastic drink recipes. Today, many historians suspect that concoctions brewed in sacred spaces gained reputations as miraculous, the line between divine joy and potent chemistry blurring as neatly as the calligraphy in illuminated manuscripts. Beyond these sanctioned sips lay even more thrilling and, sometimes perilous beverages such as absinthe, spiced with the dizzying wildness of wormwood. Medieval herbalists, akin to today's experimental mixologists, took these ingredients and concocted powerful potions known as philters. Such philters were bottled secrets, passed discreetly from hand to hand, and consumed behind closeted doors or during festivals under the wide-open sky. They promised everything from vivid dreams of vivid lands to a prescient gaze into the spirit world, with the slight side effect of occasionally convincing people they should attempt to dance with cartwheels or court neighboring pigs. Our minds tend to wander to the fantastical when considering these medieval endeavors, yet the ultimate goal was often mundane need to alleviate pain, whether physical or emotional, in a time where comfort was a scarce commodity. The jingled lines of the time likely spun tales of herbal concoctions, lifting souls as they quelled ailments, and of reputations made and unmade over a nighttime sip. Historians continue to piece together this puzzle of medieval life-sifting through manuscripts, oral history, and some stunning archaeological finds. The skilled cracksmen of yesteryear's apothecaries were unwavering in their tests with herbs like yarrow, mugwort, and hyssop. These were not mere coalescences of earth and water, but potions of life and love, with each sip more than a blender story suspended in amber. And as you walk through this medieval scene, allowing the leafy trails of mint and rosemary to tease your senses, remember that even these moments of whimsical traction came with their own risks and responsibilities. Stories whisper of those who wisely mixed quantities and timings with sour outcomes, with faint memories of folk who wandered off the beaten path, quite literally into moors or madness. Such intoxicating brews were the medieval equivalent of a stiff drink after a long week, an age-old shared understanding that perhaps the cold of the night was best met with a warm resolve and a hazy preference for happier thoughts. The night deepens, the centuries fall away, numbing your awareness of time. You journey forward, footstep by footstep, toward more tales of the past's intoxicating pleasures. As you continue your nocturnal journey through the winding paths of the medieval world, you find yourself drawn to the aromatic allure of herbs, their subtle fragrances wafting through the air. These plants, casually flourishing along the edges of cobblestone paths and behind cottage gardens, were not mere culinary additions. They were gateways to a more spirited state of mind. The tapestry of medieval herbalism is woven with tales of both revered remedies and whispered wonders, where familiar names like sage and thyme gained mystical counterparts such as belladonna, henbane, and datura. The evening air grows richer with possibilities, as you consider the mind-bending herbs and plants that filled the apothecary's shelves. These were not everyday remedies. They were for those seeking a touch of magic in their mundane lives. The ancient practice of herbology was a complex art, combining empirical knowledge with folklore. As the village healer, a cunning woman gathered wisdom from the generations before her, she crafted herbal concoctions that hinted at realms unseen, arming adventurous souls with visions and dreams, vivid enough to transcend the harsh reality of their world. During this time, a fascination with hallucinogenic plants gripped the more daring individuals, who willingly risked their senses to experience an altered state. Such herb-induced visions were a blurred line between the spiritual and the surreal, a highly regarded journey for some, a dangerous foray for others. Consider the adventurous individual, the medieval ancestor of today's psychonaut, as he gingerly accepted a draught of a henbane infusion. With eyes widening in anticipation, he took a sip and embarked on a journey not bound by the physical constraints of his village confines. Henbane, with its potent properties, was often combined with other herbs to create beverages that could offer a taste of the beyond. Known in Latin as Hyoscyamus niger, it was at once feared and valued for its potential to induce visions. Rooted in cautious tradition, healers advised on its preparation, while another tale, perhaps sung drunkenly in an alehouse, warned of the ancient Chadwick who wandered the woods, never to be seen again, after reportedly partaking a sip too many. Such tales, integrating strange specifics and mysterious disappearances, floated through medieval towns as both warnings and intrigues. And then there's belladonna, evocatively named Beautiful Lady, which was reputedly used by Italian women of high status to dilate their pupils, achieving an alluring gaze. But belladonna also held a darker side, touted as a choice ingredient for potions meant to transport the mind into fantastical realms or deeper into despair. In the hush of a quiet evening, the scholarly debate continues. Were these herbs revered mostly for their mystical properties, or were they merely an aspect of an early understanding of pain management? Historians still argue whether such practices were rooted more in science or superstition, as forgotten manuscripts occasionally surface to challenge or affirm either perspective. In the back alleys of medieval markets, where the chaos of life thrived in vibrant disarray, traders from distant lands dealt in tales as much as wares. Imagine the wonderment as cloves of garlic, common enough for culinary uses, shared the spotlight with mandrake root, known for its hallucinogenic indelible mark on the psyche. Mandrake's earthen form, whispering to be unearthed only by night under moonlit shadows, connected tales of its shriek when uprooted to legends of death. Yet, combined with select blooms and roots, it became a sought-after ingredient in potions that promised glimpses of the ethereal. As you wander through this temporal garden, the scene becomes richer and more aromatic, an intoxicating blend that stirs curiosity and an ancient urge to reach beyond the limits of the tangible world. The quaint curatives and curious concoctions of the past hold echoes of adventures that sought a touch of something more in art form, forgotten by time, yet celebrated, night after night, for those who dare to seek. Of particular note is Datura, known by many names thorn apple, Jimson weed, each one reflecting the plant's formidable reputation. Such heady herbs, so potent, were highly revered and feared, seeds of daring for the curious, and often a desperate escape for the downtrodden. Ponder, then, what it might have been like to sense your consciousness slowly unfurl spanning creeks and distant whispers, losing yourself while exploring intricate tapestries beyond the comprehension of the everyday. But in time, the initial wonder was overshadowed by the sharp edge of reality, a harsh return that reminded users that highs rose as quickly as the dispelled fog, leaving a lingering echo of hollow softness. So, as you return to the more solid ground of the pathway through the ages, remember this: the use of herbs and the thirst for altered reality spoke to something deeply humana. Gentle nod to that eternal explorer within us, all who seek solace, truth, or sorcery for whatever ails them in their reality. With senses still alight but tranquility returning, let the charms of the next story draw you ever deeper into the night. The path through medieval times winds onward, and as you journey further into the night, the air grows dense with an array of fragrances both intoxicating and mysterious. You enter a dimly lit chamber where flickering shadows play across stone walls. Here, the atmosphere is thick with smokier swirl of scents that tickle your nose and stir your imagination. This is the realm of medieval fumigations, a practice that turned ordinary spaces into ethereal domains, thanks to the cunning use of fragrant woods, resins, and herb-laden smokes. In the heart of this space, an iron brazier stands warmed by glowing embers. The aromatic plumes rising from it must have offered an escape from the cold stone reality that surrounded those seeking refuge in its depths. Historical records suggest that fumigations were utilized not only for medicinal purposes, but also as a tranquilizer for the weary mind. Legends, though murky, speak of monks who, seeking enlightenment or solace, inhaled their way to mystical experiences, enveloped in a heady cloud of frankincense or myrrh. You listen to the crackling embers and catch a whiff of something somewhat familiar, but strangely foreign: the sweetness of lavender mingling with bitter wormwood. The medieval fumigators used these scented clouds to purify spaces, heal the sick, and sometimes, surreptitiously, to guide the curious into states of altered vision. More than a simple distraction or comfort, this practice often harbored deeper intentions. Whether it was to cleanse a sick room of miasmas, or to add a spiritual charge to sacred rituals, earthy perfumes swirled their way into the anatomy of medieval life. Historians debate their deeper significance. Some suggest fumigations were merely practical, while others propose they were spiritual tools, aiding an individual's journey into otherworldly realms. The art of fumigating, it seemed, was a balance: the purification of the physical and the elevation of the ethereal. Medieval texts, fading yet potent, hint at mysterious passages, describing the blending of scents and smoke as wrote to heavens. Yet this upliftment was not without hazards of its own, as the wrong blend of herbs could transform the fragrant rush into an overwhelming haze that obscured everything, even intention. Interestingly, some of the most potent recipes came from far-flung corners of the known world. Middle Eastern markets supplied cinnamon and sandalwood, while local herbalists added twists with juniper berries and sage bunches. These were not just ingredients but keys to unlocking invisible doors. The hum of trade caravans whispered their tales along with the scents, weaving global connections through smoke. Further still, medieval folk tales from different regions spoke of peculiar gatherings where these fumigations formed a central role. There are curious accounts of village shamans or cunning folk calling upon sky spirits by burning ropes of mugwort and juniper. These gatherings, often nocturnal and embellished by the sounds of nature's night music, reportedly shrouded participants in layers of hallucinogenic fog, blurring the line between dream and reality. Though such tales are peppered with myth, they lend an intriguing glimpse into the cultural significance of fumigations beyond the mundane. In the midst of this sensory swirl, imagine the simple act of breath becoming a conduit for connection beyond yourself, a cleansing and unburdening of the soul. As you inhale, you sense the fullness of experiences held in wisps and curls, the centuries-old hopes, dreams, and transformations experienced by those who came before you. What stories might they share? What visions, whether of prophecy or peril, expanded behind closed eyes? Fumigations in the medieval era served as the theatre of the mind, setting the stage with scents that carried you to fantastical realms or introspective journeys. The interplay of aromatic woods and the silence between flames fostered endless possibilities for those seeking either grounded reprieve or soaring insight. Beneath the layers of medieval grime and grandeur, these fumigations intertwined deeply with both life and afterlife. Their usage reached into the fabric of domestic life, as well as spiritual and even political realms. It was an acknowledgement and a harnessing of nature's potent breath, translucent suspense that knew to conjure visions without words, to heal without touch. As the whispers of smoke subside into the cool midnight air, you find yourself back at the threshold of the chamber. The scents linger lightly on your skin, a nod from history beckoning you onward. With every breath you draw, and every story to unfold, the path stretches before you, a bridge between the mundane and the magical, all rolled up into the journey yet to come. The resonant clamour of laughter and clinking mugs beckons you closer to a lively corner of medieval society, the alehouse. As the night deepens, its warm glow spills onto the cobbled streets, inviting you into a world where spirits were as high as the ale frothing over wooden tankards. Inside this convivial haven, the air is thick with the aroma of spiced ales, roasting meats, and the unmistakable scent of camaraderie. You find yourself drawn into the boisterous revelry, the rough-hewn benches crowded with patrons seeking both drink and company. These alehouses were the social epicenters of their time, a place where tales as tall as tower spires were spun, and everyone from weary travellers to local townsfolk gathered to quench their thirst for both ale and interaction. Medieval society was thirsty for connection, and the alehouse served it up in ample measure, noisy and welcoming, like family reunions without the awkward silences. Ale, the lifeblood of this jovial realm, varied from the simplest barley brews to more complex concoctions spiced with exotic additions like ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon tea, enduring echoes of forgotten trade routes. The cocktails of their day served more than mere pleasure. They offered both sustenance and snippets of adventure alongside their intoxicating effects. And if you incline your ear to the jovial tales told between swigs, you might hear of the hapless brewer who mistook a sack of hops for herbs and, by accident, crafted a batch that left its drinkers seeing Dublin swearing off love for a week. In an alehouse, rank and status often fell prey to the levelling influence of potent brews, weaving an equal opportunity space where villagers might bump mugs and elbows with knights and noblemen. It's almost too easy to imagine the sword-wielding nobleman exchanging banter with a cheeky tinkerer over a tankard-strewn argument about whose hog-taming technique was superior. Hierarchies melted beneath the warmth of alehouse fires, and everyone played the role of listener or storyteller sometimes, depending on the strength of their barley-based courage, both. The frequenters imbibed their cups with great gusto, hefting tunes of their local minstrels and tipsy ballads that filled the room with an earthen kind of magic. Ghostly, forgotten echoes still sing from the rafters, whispering of songs cheerfully bawdy in their tales of triumph, heartache, and rib-caging laughter. These informally grand establishments pumped the lifeblood of culture through the medieval veins, each cup a story, each sip a small solace, each gathering a galvanized connection. But alehouses were not solely revelry and raucous songs. Their walls bore witness to quieter moments too. Deep in the evening, as firelight flickered and the voices mellowed, those same spaces hosted whispered confessions and secretive exchanges. It was a common meeting ground, not only for gossip, but for the business of the heart, and an occasional clandestine scheme. Through laughter and whispers alike, alehouses embraced and entangled the everyday with the extraordinary, planting seeds of camaraderie soaked in barley and spice. Relevant to both the village and the broader world, there existed sprawling networks of megaversions of these alehouses in bustling cities, where merchants, travellers, and mercenaries collided in chaotic cacophony. These places served not only spirits, but a rich stock of news, bringing threads of political landscapes or foreign rumours into the nooks of one town after another. One could travel the breadth of their homeland, through tales told over frothing cups. How curious it is that while the concept of alehouses evolved through time and technology, the quintessential essence of communal gathering around a convivial fire has remained little changed. Moments of escape from daily grind, lives mixing like barley and water to brew connections both ephemeral and enduring. Remember, this was a time where the notion of leisure was an unknown luxury to most. In our present tense, as expressions shift from dance to talk, you're reminded how medieval spirits were not solely distilled in cups and tankards. They existed in the bonds forged within the ale-soaked night. As the scene plays out before you, sounds, smells, and stories meld together in celebration and solace, knitting the tales of humanity timeless threads that weave one century into the next. So, with the distant echo of a hearty cheer and the faint warmth of imaginary ale still lingering on your palate, allow yourself to meander away from the merriment of the alehouse. Venture deeper into medieval reverie, and let the whispers of the night guide you to the next story along the journey's path. Fresh tale already awaiting, freshly poured into the vessel of the upcoming night. As the night deepens and the world outside the alehouse fades into the shadowy embrace of the dark, you find yourself gravitating toward a different kind of intoxication, rooted not in spirits, but in spirit. In medieval times, religious ecstasy offered a transcendental path, lifting the faithful into realms where the soul danced free of corporeal bounds. It was here, in hallowed cathedrals and humble chapels, that people sought exaltation through an intense devotion, one that allowed them to transcend the earthly realm and touch something divine. The atmosphere of a medieval cathedral is a sensory experience in itself. Picture the cavernous interior, with towering stone arches that seem to touch the heavens, echoing the hushed whispers of prayer. The flicker of countless candles dances along the walls, softening the gloom and casting a warm glow over the faces of the faithful. The fragrance of incense hangs heavily in the air, a sweet and smoky tendril that entwines with your every breath, drawing you deeper into a meditative state. In this sacred space, the faithful gathered to lose themselves in the contemplation of the divine. The transformative power of collective worship was profound, as soaring hymns and solemn chants reverberated through the stone, enveloping worshippers in an auditory rapture. Music played a pivotal role in facilitating these experiences. Its ethereal notes lifted the spirit as though angels themselves were present, weaving a tapestry of sound that transported listeners beyond their earthly trials. Medieval religious ecstasy was more than a fleeting feeling. It was an all-consuming state, facilitated by practices steeped in rigorous devotion. Pilgrims embarked on arduous journeys to holy sites, driven by the hope of experiencing miracles or gaining a glimpse of the divine. These pilgrimages provided both a physical and spiritual journey, with the travel itself acting as a form of purification, stripping away earthly burdens and allowing the pilgrim's soul to ascend. At the heart of these experiences lay the figure of the mystic. These individuals were often revered, sometimes feared, as they claimed to have direct communication with the divine. As you stand amidst the throng, you might glimpse a mystic deep in contemplation, their face reflecting both serenity and the weight of revelations that transcended mortal understanding. Figures like Hildegard of Bingen or Julian of Norwich spoke of visions that expanded the boundaries of human experience, their words etched into history as testimony to the mysteries of faith. It wasn't merely Christian mysticism that gripped the medieval soul. Jewish Kabbalists and Muslim Sufis also sought union with the divine through prayer, meditation, and ecstatic practices akin to their Christian counterparts. This universal human pursuit transcended religious boundaries, revealing shared aspirations to reach beyond the tangible. However, the paths to religious ecstasy varied. as did the degree to which individuals pursued them, sometimes blurring the lines between devotion and delirium. The flagellants, for example, were medieval penitents who hoped to achieve spiritual purification through self-inflicted pain and suffering. Their fervent displays, marching barefoot and whipping themselves through towns, were spectacles that forced communities to confront the lengths to which people would go in their pursuit of divine bliss or relief from communal sins. Historians still argue about the extent to which such practices were ecstasy or mere manifestations of societal pressures and psychological need. Was it truly divine communication, or merely the human mind's way of coping through mental automatism? Even today, the debate remains, leaving us with an intricate tapestry of belief shaped by both faith and the psychological complexities of the human condition. Religious ecstasy offered medieval individuals a form of escape unlike any other. It provided not only a personal encounter with the divine, but a shared communal experience that created a deep sense of interconnected, spiritual communion, as vital as any taken in the form of bread and wine. These experiences were not bound by language or literacy, captivating both the illiterate peasant and the scholarly monk, anchored by a shared faith that transcended individual limitations. It is said that when the veils of mundane awareness are peeled back through practice or pilgrimage, the faithful see clearly years before doubt dulled faith. In this charged atmosphere of sacred devotion, those who persisted held a key to heights and sights beyond the reach of casual moments. Their tales passed from lips to parchment to lay the cobblestones of belief throughout generations. Now, as the final candle flickers and the echoes of evening prayers dissipate into silence, you feel the profound tranquility of the sacred space. Though your journey through history continues, a sense of peace lingers, as if a part of the divine still clings to you. Journey onwards, deeper into the medieval night, cradled by the whispers of past souls, their dreams, and the songs they sang to touch the stars. As you move forward, allow the shadows of history to guide your steps and unfold the rich tapestry that lies ahead story by story, through the annals of time, echoing softly, just beyond the physical realm. As the night continues its watch over the medieval landscape, you find yourself drawn toward a realm filled with shadows and superstition, the world of witchcraft and the legends that defined it. Here, in the dim glow of moonlight, where myths and reality intertwine, you'll discover tales from a time when whispers of enchantment were both feared and coveted. Step carefully, for this path leads into the enigmatic domain of witches, their mysterious ointments, and the ageless skyward journeys that legends say they took. Picture the scene. A small clearing in a dense forest, the air cool and hushed, where the only sound is the rustle of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. This was often the rumoured meeting place of those accused of witchcraft, a secluded spot away from prying eyes, where mystical practices could unfold under the cover of night. The earthy scent of moss and damp wood clings to the air, adding to the sense of secrecy that pervades the scene. In medieval Europe, witches were often outcasts living on society's fringes. The fear of the unknown, coupled with the allure of the supernatural, created fertile ground for tales of women, and occasionally men, who wielded mysterious powers. Chief among their arcane practices was the creation of flying ointments, concocted from a variety of herbs thought to contain magical properties. Belladonna, henbane, and mandrake were key ingredients, each lending to the ointment its reputed ability to grant flight or visions, whisking the user off to witches' sabbaths in far-off lands. These ointments, often applied to the body or the handle of a broomstick, yes, those broomsticks, were described in confessions, sometimes extracted painfully, recorded in the scribes' manuscripts that have survived the ages. Despite the fantastical nature of these tales, historians suggest there might have been a grain of truth behind the legends. Belladonna and henbane are known to contain hallucinogenic compounds, which could induce sensations of flight or out-of-body experiences. These mind-altering effects, coupled with the vivid and superstitious imaginations of the medieval folk, easily gave rise to stories of witches soaring through the night sky. Witchcraft, however, was not solely rooted in dark intentions or nefarious deeds. Many women labelled as witches were, in reality, community healers and herbalists who possessed deep knowledge of medicinal plants and natural remedies. Their roles were essential, especially in rural areas where formal medical care was scarce. Yet, their expertise also placed them at risk, as any unexpected outcome or unexplained event could quickly escalate into accusations of sorcery or witchcraft. Much of what is known about medieval witchcraft comes from later centuries, when witch hunts and trials reached their fervor. Back in the medieval period, accusations were less organized but no less destructive, feeding off paranoia and often settling personal vendettas. Society's fear of witches was fueled by religious doctrine, as well as by the need to explain the unexplainable. Poor harvest, an illness, or bad weather could all be blamed on the workings of sinister forces. One intriguing point of scholarly debate is whether all the accounts of witches' gatherings and their magical abilities were based purely on fabrication. Some historians suggest that these reports were partially constructed by those who sought to justify their persecution of supposed witches. Others propose that such stories served as a form of social folklore, a way for communities to articulate their collective fears and maintain order. It's a fascinating argument that underscores the mysterious allure of witches in the popular imagination, a symbol of rebellion against conventions, bound inextricably with the land and its untamed forces. As you tread softly through the hushed tales of witches and their magic, consider how the legends of the past still echo into the present. The enchantment of witches has endured, transforming through time from figures of fear to icons of empowerment and mystery. Modern portrayals capture the imagination just as they did centuries ago, whether through stories of broomstick flights, cauldron spells, or the persistent theme of awe-inspiring femininity intertwined with nature's forces. With the stars watching silently as overhead witnesses, the night wraps these stories in the softest of whispers. Perhaps in this realm beyond time, the winds of history finally offer some vindication to those misunderstood practitioners who navigated a world where belief and fear danced as one. As their tales drift into the cool night air, a path through sovereign dreams and the lore of apothecary's craft awaits you. Follow this trail deeper still, to the next chapter of history's enchanting and spellbound odyssey, each step steeped with the breath of yesteryear. As the shadows of the past deepen, your journey continues, with an invitation to explore the heart of alchemy, where science, magic, and mystery converged in the quest for transformative secrets. From the shadowy whispers of witchcraft and enchanted ointments, your journey now carries you into the realms of alchemy, an intricate dance between science and magic that captured the imaginations of medieval thinkers. Alchemy was the pursuit of transformation, a quest driven by the tantalizing promise of turning base metals into gold and finding the elusive elixir of life. Imagine, if you will, a dimly lit chamber cluttered with strange apparatuses, glass alembics, smouldering furnaces, and manuscripts filled with cryptic symbols. In the medieval world, alchemists were the eccentric, eclectic, and often enigmatic figures who walked the line between mysticism and early chemistry. The room is filled with the pungent aroma of sulfur and the metallic tang of mercury, two key ingredients in the alchemical arts. Here, the air vibrates with the ambition of uncovering nature's deepest secrets and glimpsing the divine order hidden within matter itself. Alchemy wasn't just about material wealth or mere curiosity. It was an all-encompassing philosophy, a spiritual journey as much as it was a scientific pursuit. Alchemists viewed the creation of gold as a metaphor for the inner transformation of the self, a mirror, reflecting their quest for wisdom, purity, and enlightenment. Their notebooks, filled with alchemical symbols and riddles, were meant to convey ideas beyond language esoteric wisdom, accessible only to the initiated. Central to alchemy was the belief in the philosopher's stone, a legendary substance said to possess the power to transmute metals and grant eternal life. This stone was the holy grail of alchemical pursuits, as elusive in its reality as the legends that surrounded it. The philosopher's stone symbolized perfection, a sought-after ideal that featured prominently in both mystical and practical alchemy. While the philosopher's stone remained a tantalizing paradox, alchemists made genuine contributions to what would eventually evolve into modern chemistry. Their detailed records of experiments, their innovative concepts of substance and change, and their relentless trial and error laid the groundwork for scientific inquiry. The methods they developed and the experimental approaches they honed contributed to advancements in metallurgy, medicine, and the understanding of natural processes. The alchemical community was cloaked in secrecy, their members forming an exclusive circle within which knowledge was guarded closely. With good reason, alchemy was often viewed with suspicion, sometimes attracting the attention of church authorities wary of any knowledge that might rival religious doctrine. To practice alchemy was to walk a delicate balance, where discreet exchanges of knowledge, conducted in hushed tones behind closed doors, were the only means of collaboration. The borders of scholarship and superstition blur in this medieval alchemical landscape. Some historians propose that many alchemists were charlatans, their alchemical concoctions mere deceptions masquerading as science. Others point out the genuine progress that emerged from alchemical practices, with figures like Paracelsus and Albertus Magnus advancing medical knowledge through their work. Alchemy wasn't confined to Europe. It crossed cultural borders, drawing inspiration from and influencing practices as far afield as the Arab world and ancient China. These cultural exchanges enriched alchemy's development, bringing with them diverse practices, substances, and ideas that wove into the larger tapestry of human inquiry. In the philosophical heart of alchemy beat the conviction that everything in the universe was interconnected through a web of correspondences. Alchemists believed in a divine order, a harmony that could be glimpsed and understood through their labors. The transformation of matter mirrored the transformation of the Sulan idea that transcended the material to touch upon the mystical. Consider the alchemist hunched over a manuscript, pen scratching on parchment by the feeble light of a candle. With careful script, they recorded the results of another experiment, the curling tendrils of the alchemical reaction echoing their own deep yearning for discovery and knowledge that shifted defining boundaries. Much like their potions which concocted dreams, these medieval scientists mixed intellect with alchemical hope to produce more than they set out to understand. And so, as you step away from this world of crucibles and contrived secrets, you carry with you the understanding that the practice of alchemy, with all its mystery and ambition, was a testament to the human desire for mastery over nature and self. It was the restless search for gold, both external and internal, a pursuit woven from the essence of both science and spirituality. As you press onward into the medieval nightscape, let the residue of alchemical dreams linger with you. Your journey is sculpted by a series of explorations and imaginations, moving seamlessly from one story to the next, where night blends into a dawn of understanding. Next, let the minstrel's music lead you through tempos shifting in harmony with medieval time, as melodies lift you into the realms of stories and sound. As the silent whispers of alchemy fade into the background, the night carries you forward to a realm alive with sound and laughter, where music and stories intertwine to create a tapestry of joy, the world of minstrels. In medieval times, minstrels were the wandering entertainers who moved from town to town, bringing with them the magic of song and tale. Imagine stepping into a lively square or a warm tavern, the air bustling with anticipation as a minstrel takes center stage, lute in hand, a smile hinting at the secrets of song. The flickering torchlight casts playful shadows, enveloping the audience in a golden glow. The sound of the lute strings fills the air, its melody, a delicate filigree, weaving through the laughter and conversation. Minstrels were both entertainers and bearers of news, their songs carrying stories of distant lands, heroic deeds, and the lives of kings and common folk alike. It was through their melodies and stories that news travelled, that legends lived and grew, and that ordinary people found a kind of solace from the challenges of their daily lives. These travelling performers equipped with instruments like the lute, the fiddle, and the harp created a vibrant oral tradition, preserving history and stirring the imagination. Their repertoire spanned the gamut from epic tales of knights and dragons to playful ditties and romantic ballads, each performance infused with their personal artistry and charm. In their hands, music became more than entertainment. It was a bridge connecting past to present and past, threads of shared experience woven into the tapestry of community and connectivity. The sound is gentle, a quicksilver dance on the ear, and it lifts the spirits of the gathered crowd, their collective hearts swelling with the shared moment. In tales of daring and chivalry, humour and heartbreak, minstrels transported their listeners far beyond the narrow confines of their villages. With expert timing and a glint in their eyes, they led their audiences through tales as vivid as any tapestry. Lives led in myth and memory, histories stitched colourfully in song. For many in the audience, the minstrels offered more than escape. They were educators of the empathy and ethical underpinnings of their stories. Their songs whispered morals, amused with wit, and cajoled with teasing truths that inspired collective introspection. In medieval society, knowledge of the wider world was scant, and minstrels filled that void, broadcasting the news and exaggerations of distant war campaigns. Through song, alliances and betrayals were reported, kingdoms risen and fallen, each note carrying whispers of intrigue and fascination. "And what is a journey through magical lands?" the audience whispered among themselves, without a hearty laugh or merry jest. Minstrels deftly intertwined lyrics with tales of folklore humour, engaging the villagers with clever turns of phrase, gyrating tales of husbands tricked by wives and vice versa. Known in every tongue, they sowed mirth that harvested smiles. Of all the stories minstrels conveyed, perhaps the most cherished were those of love lost or found, passions flaring through notes that mirrored the turn of leaves in autumn winds. Such ballads tugged at heartstrings, lending medieval lovers a vocabulary of the heart that lingered long after the final chord faded into silence. The role of the minstrel was multifaceted: carrier of news, collector of stories, entertainer, and teacher. Their presence was vital in knitting the fabric of medieval society, bringing people together through shared experiences. In this way, they stood at the intersection of history and artistry, bearing witness to the changing times and recording them in song. Yet, historians still debate the precise nature of the minstrel's life. Was it as glamorous and romanticized as their tales suggested, or was it fraught with hardship and travel-worn boots? While some minstrels found favour, patronage, and wealth at the courts of noble patrons, others eked out a living on the road, vulnerable to the whims and generosity of their audiences. Regardless of their status, minstrels provided an invaluable service, one that resonated deeply with the people of medieval Europe. Through their music, they offered a respite from the toil of daily life, infusing each village, town, and hamlet with a momentary glimpse of beauty and magic. As the last notes drift into the night, the minstrel's music lingers in your mind, echoing through the corridors of time. You are left with the realization that in the changing tides of history, the power of song and story remains a constant testament to the enduring human spirit. As you take your leave from the realm of melody and memory, allow the rhythm of the minstrel's tune to carry you forward, deeper into the medieval dreamscape, where more stories await, playing softly and tenderly against the backdrop of the night. As the melodies of the minstrels fade into the night, you find yourself journeying into another realm rife with mystery and reverence, the world of the Druids. These adherents of ancient traditions were believed to hold sway over nature's secrets, whispering incantations that bridged the terrestrial and the spiritual. Picture yourself stepping into a clearing deep in an ancient forest, where the air is thick with the scent of pine, and the coolness of moss underfoot feels like nature's very own carpet. The forest is alive with the tentatively unraveling whispers of the trees and the rhythmic chorus of crickets, creating an intimate atmosphere where magic becomes palpable. Here, in this sacred grove, a druid stands at the heart of the Celtic world. The aura of mystery surrounds them, their knowledge of natural law and cosmic forces emanating from beneath their robes' shadowy folds. It was believed that druids could commune with the unseen, drawing insight and power from the earth and stars alike. Their role in medieval society was one both revered and revered, complex tapestry of spirituality, politics, and social cohesion, entwined with the natural forces they sought to understand. Druids were keepers of ancient wisdom, passed down through oral tradition rather than written word. They held a vast repository of knowledge on herbalism, healing, and natural phenomena, making them indispensable guides and advisors to their communities. The rites they performed, often cloaked in secrecy, were as intricate and multifaceted as the forests themselves. Central to the Druidic tradition were their ritual gatherings, called groves, where initiates and lay people alike participated in ceremonies honoring the cycles of nature. These observances often involved the consumption of specially prepared beverages, brews imbued with herbs and berries, thought to heighten spiritual awareness, or unlock the observer's third eye. Some accounts vividly describe these libations as drams of enlightenment that allowed participants to glimpse beyond the veil of mere mortals into the sacred dance of the cosmos. Of course, historians still debate the accuracy of the Druids' portrayals, sifting through the veils of mythology and historic conjecture to draw conclusions about these enigmatic figures. Did they possess mystical powers? Or were they simply adept at understanding and leveraging natural phenomena? The challenge lies in discerning historical fact from the tapestry of legends woven by those who came after them, eager to romanticize or demonize the traditions depending on their intentions. And yet, the image of the Druid stands tall against the backdrop of history, a guardian of knowledge and tradition, a mediator between the human world and the divine. Their influence extended far beyond the boundaries of the physical realm, shaping the spiritual landscape of medieval Europe long before and after their sway was overtaken by encroaching tides of change. In this twilight-lit grove, where the natural world and ancient rituals converge, you sense the power and poetry of the Druids as they dance on the cusp of myth. What were once whispered, incantations can be imagined as the wind itself, echoing the sacred lilt of ceremonial dialogues. It is here, in these hallowed clearings, that the rhythm of the seasons and the harmony of the universe were celebrated, where the highs of earthly spirits met the reverence of celestial skies. While the exact nature of these druidic brews remains obscure, traces of their influence persist in folklore and custom. Historians suggest these ceremonies, whether actual or exaggerated, were celebrated as harbingers of harmonious balancia, confluence of nature's gifts to ease the mind, yet another chapter in the quest for ecstatic connection. Reflecting on the Druids' vital role, it's worth considering whether the enchantment of their ceremonies lay not just in the ritual itself, but in the insight and wisdom imparted to each participant. Such gatherings fostered community bonds and reverence for the living world and its cycles, encouraging an understanding of humanity's place within a greater cosmic order. And so, as the moon casts its gentle light on the forest floor, you leave behind the echoes of the Druids' world. Let the whispers of the trees and the starlit canopy guide you on to the next chapter, unfurling with the rhythm of ancient wisdom. Through each unfolding tale, remember the importance of the land and its keepers, an enduring reminder of the intricate thread that weaves humanity with the mysteries of nature and the stories they inspire. Here, in this midnight sojourn, your journey continues, deeper into the heart of history's tapestry. The forest path opens wide as you drift away from the shadowy secrets of the Druids and into a new realm, a place where weary travelers pause to rest and find solace on long journeys. The medieval world, with all its demands, was particularly harsh, and in the quiet comfort of Cordials, many found respite. Imagine arriving at a modest inn nestled by the roadside, the soft glow of candlelight spilling through its windows like an inviting embrace against the chill of the encroaching night. Inside, the atmosphere is warm with camaraderie and rich with the scent of baking bread and simmering pottage. A friendly innkeeper nods in your direction, offering a steaming mug of something dark and intoxicating cordial, designed to revive the weary traveler with its sweet, restorative magic. You settle into a worn wooden chair by the fire, allowing the warmth to seep into your bones as you lift the mug to your lips. Cordials were the comfort drinks of medieval times, more than just a simple beverage. They were thoughtfully concocted elixirs, often crafted from wine or spirits steeped with aromatic herbs, spices, and sweeteners like honey. Their recipes were as varied as the lands from which they hailed, with each culture and region contributing its own unique twist. In a world where physical and mental fatigue were ever common companions, a well-brewed cordial promised not only refreshment, but also a sense of well-being and revitalization. But cordials weren't just for travelers. They were an integral part of medieval hospitality. Hosting guests with an offering of such a concoction was a mark of generosity and care, a means of strengthening social bonds. Imagine the gentle exchanges of stories and smiles as these warming draughts worked their subtle magic, easing the aches of both body and spirit. Even then, Europeans felt a basic kinship within their cords and cups, striving through difficult circumstances to extend the gentle hand of hospitality. Cordials were more than fleeting gestures. They were endowed with cultural significanza, symbol of the warmth amidst the chaos of medieval existence. The golden age of cordials took shape amid a myriad of different influences, where trade routes and cultural exchanges ensured a dynamic exchange of recipes and ingredients. The addition of precious saffron or cinnamon spoke as much of distant lands as of the care in crafting the beverage. Occasional word brought whispers of a particularly fizzy brew concocted by a traveller who had tired ever so briefly of braving mainland dangers. Beyond their social aspects, these drinks often claimed medicinal properties, with healers attributing wellness to every sip, whether grounded in reality or mere wishful thinking. Concoctions of wormwood, anise, or elderflower promised relief from ailments as varied as digestive complaints to the common cold. As with many things in the medieval era, the line between the curative and the cordial was as blurry as a morning mist, with people clinging to the hope of salvation and health in uncertain times. Scholarly debate continues to swirl, much like a cordial's deep spice, with historians arguing whether their reputed curative effects were rooted in fact or fabulous fantasy. Were they genuinely medicinal, or did their comfort lay more in the psychological relief offered amidst everyday hardship? The heart of the matter remains elusive, lending an enchanting ambiguity to the history of this age-old practice. Sipping from a mug of mulled wine or spiced mead, countless patrons must have found a brief sanctuary, a bubble of warmth in the heart of winter's bite. Imagine the lively discussions and soft conversations that rose and fell like the flames of the hearth, providing both heat and harmony. The laughter of companionship and shared stories, fortified by the pleasant tingle of the beverage, melded within the soundscape of clinking mugs and fluttering hearth. More than just temporal touches, these cordials were an evolving testament to the adaptability and creativity of the people who brewed and believed in them. Each sip told a story, the pungency of cloves, or a hint of licorice, pulling history and fantasy together as close companions. The warmth of the drink mirrored that of human connection, an intangible force shaping memories sent with sublingual curls. And as you slowly draw yourself away from this scene of cozy solace, warmed from the inside out, consider the modest power these humble drinks held in the grand tapestry of medieval life. Let the lingering sweetness of the cordials accompany you as your journey continues, softening the path ahead where new stories cast light upon the shadows of the past. With the firelight fading and the cordial's afterglow still warming your heart, venture onward. Set your gaze towards stories that stir the interwoven folds of medieval life's small tales, each a part of a greater narrative endlessly unfolding, thread by thread, against the vast and velvet backdrop of night. With the warmth of cordials still lingering in your memory, you wander further into the labyrinth of medieval life, guided by the faint aroma of roasting beans and the gentle clatter of cups. Your senses draw you into a bustling marketplace, alive with the voices of vendors and the vibrant colours of goods from afar. There, amidst the clamour, you discover a modest stall where something new and intriguing has just arrived: coffee. This newfound delight, the dark and aromatic coffee bean, promises an invigorating experience that would soon stir the passions of Europe. Although our modern coffee culture might seem a world away from medieval times, the seeds for this widely cherished stimulant were being planted even then, though they wouldn't fully bloom until later centuries. For now, the aura of mystery surrounding the coffee bean was enough to create a ripple of excitement among those fortunate enough to indulge. In this market stall, brimming with exotic offerings from the Silk Road and beyond, coffee beans were jumbled among spices and silks, their oily sheen echoing the rich embrace of future brews. A vendor, armed with tales of faraway lands bathed in sun and shadow, extols the virtues of this curious bean to potential buyers. Even in its nascent stage, coffee captured imaginations and stimulated interest among those eager for novel experiences or extraordinary tales. As you listen to the vendor's patter, imagine that first tentative sip, the way the rich bitterness gives way to earthy warmth, slowly unfurling across your palate like the storytelling promises of evening under starlit skies. In an age when lethargy was a constant companion on long journeys and harder days, the idea of a quickened pace by such means was quite enticing indeed. Although the full cultural explosion of coffee was yet to come, its early presence hinted at changes on the horizon. Coffee promised stimulation, and an elevated conversation a step toward the intellectual salons and coffee houses that would later become hotbeds of discussion and dissent. Tied irrevocably to the intellectual wanderlust of societies blossoming toward modernity, these beans carried with them premonitions of social transformation, experienced through little more than a steaming cup. The impact of coffee, understated as it initially was, extended beyond simply providing a jolt of energy. Its complex taste and invigorating effects made it ripe for comparison to herbs and ancient ale, as individuals sipped and speculated on its symbolic powers. Could it sharpen wits, enhance creativity, or even open doors to new dimensions of thought? The potential for collaboration of creativity was only whispered yet. The fine lines between savored senses and spirited argument exchanges could already be drawn. Historians delve into the emergence of coffee, debating how its countless geographical and cultural influences sculpted the narrative of this exotic drink. Some argue that its appeal lay in its physiological kicker contrast to the more sedative effects of traditional medieval draughts. Others suggest its potency was as much social as sensory, foreshadowing the advent of increased dialogue and dynamic engagement over coffee's invigorating waves. Eventually, as you savor the last drops from your imaginary medieval cup, you begin to understand that coffee was more than a drink. It was an idea foretaste of modernization planting itself in medieval soil. When the impulse of the caffeine began to lift drowsy lids and invigorate the conversations of the day, few could have known its far-reaching impact. And yet, in its simple essence, coffee whispered of new beginnings to those already yearning for change. As the market stalls begin to pack away their wares, leaving the faint scent of camaraderie and caffeine in the twilight air, you tuck this fragrant experience into your journey's mental scrapbook. The tale of the coffee bean drifts off with you as your path expands toward a future echoing with history's dynamic layers of sound and scent. Let the rich aroma guide your steps onward, through stories yet to unfold in this grand tapestry of time. There are countless tales ahead, each inviting you to savor a piece of the medieval world in its past and present forms. Venture further, where the echoes of Mandrake myth and dreams await, promising new discoveries beneath the veil of mystery. Leaving behind the bustling marketplace and the invigorating aroma of coffee, you step into a quieter, more shadowy corner of the medieval realm, a place where the boundaries between myth and reality blur under the silvery light of the moon. Here, amidst the whispers of ancient lore, you encounter the mysterious mandrake, a plant shrouded in legend and feared for its reputed powers. In a small, dimly lit apothecary's shop tucked within the cobbled streets, the air is thick with the smell of dried herbs and fragrant oils. Ceramic jars line the shelves, each labelled with names that speak of mystery and remedy. The apothecary, a figure as ancient as the craft they practice, draws your attention to a peculiar root. The mandrake. Its humanoid shape captures your imagination, evoking tales of sorcery and superstition that have surrounded this plant for centuries. The mandrake's reputation is as tangled as its roots. Back in medieval times, it was considered a plant of great power, often associated with enchantments and potions that could bring visions or induce sleep. Its use spanned various facets of life, from healing and fertility rites to darker tales of curses and sorcery. To the medieval mind, the mandrake was a living bridge, connecting the mundane with the mystical. Legend has it that mandrake, also called the friend of witches, emitted a deadly scream when uprooted, a sound feared to be lethal to those who heard it. Stories circulated of how to harvest the root safely, involving elaborate rituals with dogs pulling them from the earth, while the harvester plugged their ears, an illustration of the plant's ominous mystique. While these tales may stretch the bounds of credulity, they highlight the deeply rooted aura of superstition that enveloped medieval life. Even in the realm of herbalism, however, extracting fact from such musings often proves elusive. While historians have found evidence of mandrake's presence in both writing and archaeological finds, the exact extent of its use and effectiveness remains a matter of scholarly debate. Did its reputed properties enhance the dreams of medieval users, or was it merely a clever concoction spiced with local lore? Medicinally, mandrake's potent alkaloids rendered it an early anesthetic, a fact not lost on medieval healers who cautiously employed it in small doses. Tales abound of its ability to sedate and perhaps open the doors of perception, creating a spectrum of reactions from paralyzing fear to profound revelation. Beyond its pragmatic applications, The mandrake transcended its earthly form, intertwined with legends and the occult. Where others saw mere roots, medieval practitioners perceived potential, crafting filters and brews, said to reveal hidden knowledge or provide entrance to otherworldly realms. Such potions were rumored to offer glimpses into the future or travel unfettered through dreams. Mandrake's enigmatic nature wasn't limited to one locale. Its shadow extended from the Middle East to Europe, where it appeared in centuries, old manuscripts and shadows of myth alike. These tales whisper tantalizingly of a plant that could heal or harm, its duality a symbol for the unpredictable nature of the world itself. As you wander through the herb-filled space, consider how the human imagination has always hovered near the fringes of reality. The stories that surround the mandrake might be seen as reflections of humanity's desire to grasp and control the unknown. These tales mingle with dreams, merging fear and fascination into the lore that enriches the shadowy corners of history. Allow these fabled roots to impart a lingering mystery as you leave the apothecary's shop behind. You step once more into the medieval night, the tales of Mandrake whispering to you of both perilous visions and profound insights. Perhaps, like the plant itself, your journey will reveal hidden truths and unseen pathways as it unfolds further. With the echo of legends at your back and the promise of discovery at your feet, continue on this path through time. Let the stories draw you closer to the fabric of history, guide you to the thresholds of dreams, and reveal the weaving of stories yet untold. As you forge onward, let the mysteries of another encounter draw near. Stories of sleep and sorcery, dreams and darkness await to unfold beyond the next turn in the road. As the moon rises higher in the night sky, casting its silver glow over the medieval landscape, you venture deeper into the world of arcane practices and secretive concoctions. Your footsteps carry you into the enigmatic realm where sleep and sorcery entwine, place where the boundary between dreams and reality seems to dissolve like morning mist. In this twilight world, the air is filled with the soft rustle of pages and the faint whiff of ancient parchment, leading you into the hushed sanctum of a medieval sorcerer's workshop. The space before you is cluttered with the tools of mystical trade, bundles of dried herbs hanging from the rafters, their shadowy forms swaying gently, shelves filled with vials of strange powders and liquids shimmering in the dim candlelight. This is the domain of the sorcerer, a figure both revered and feared, who treads the fine line between knowledge and mystery. The sorcerer's task is a delicate balance, weaving together the threads of dream and reality in pursuit of deeper truths or, perhaps, deeper secrets. The practice of sorcery in medieval times often involved the use of sleep-inducing preparations, crafted to transport individuals into states where dreams could merge with foresight or arcane revelation. Imagining the world of sleep sorcery is akin to wandering through a land of ephemeral shadows, where each breath reveals the antiquated charm of a universe fleeting and unpredictable. These concoctions, frequently brewed under the guidance of stars and moon phases, were crafted from an array of potent botanicals and animal derivatives, ingredients such as poppy seeds, lavender, and sometimes more exotic substances like bat's blood or salamander scales, at least in folklore, were meticulously combined in rituals of both mundane and mystical nature. To the medieval mind, dreams were sacred gateway tokens of the spirit world or messages from beyond, offered during the sacred silence of sleep. Sorcerers tapped into this belief, crafting elixirs that promised vivid dreams, meditative insights, or warnings veiled in symbolism. When night enveloped the world and stars watched over sleeping towns, these dream-inducing brews became silent guardians that guided seekers across the landscape of imagination. Attuned to both the earth's rhythms and arcane wisdom, the medieval sorcerer held the belief that dreams were keys to unlocking hidden truths and unbinding the constraints of waking logic. Society, with its tangles of daily customs and superstitions, stood both wary of and fascinated by the insights such concoctions might unveil. Yet even as sorcerers gathered their herbs and invoked the mysterious forces they believed governed the universe, there were those who questioned the essence of these practices. Historians still argue whether these brews truly had the capabilities attributed to them, or if the dreams that followed were crafted by the power of suggestion and the fertile imagination of the dreamers themselves. Was it the potion that led to prophetic dreams and nocturnal travels? Or was it the human desire to find meaning that colored dreams with the vividness of moon's light? The point is elusive, lying somewhere in the divergent currents of medieval thought, alchemy, and personal belief. Both awe and skepticism fanned the flames of mystery, leaving behind a shadowy tapestry, interwoven with stories of exploration and introspection. The role of the sleeping sorcerer often formed a bridge between the earthly and spiritual symbols of the mundane. As you envision those who delved in sleep magic, feel the pull of worlds interlaced but separate, one foot tethered to reality, the other stepping into the ethereal embrace of dreaming. Leaving this chamber of occult history behind, you are left with a deep curiosity and an understanding interweaving substance and shadow with otherworldly insight. The knowledge of sleep sorcery was not merely about dreaming, but was reflective of the medieval quest for illumination amid the dimness. Let these half-heard dreams guide you onward through this historical journey. The castle's stone walls give way to open fields bathed in moonlight, where yet more tales wait to be told. Embrace the gentle whisper of the night, where stories of enchantment, entertainment, and exploration unfold, a world rich with the complex layers of the human heart and the thirst for understanding. As you continue down the path, new stories will find you, offering fresh dreams to explore, nestled within the ever-turning tapestry of history's embrace. With the echoes of sleep sorcery retreating into the folds of night, your journey now leads you to a place of fellowship and lively exchange, the bustling heart of medieval social life, the tavern. As you approach, the warm glow of lanterns spills invitingly into the dark streets, accompanied by the sounds of laughter, clattering dice, and the lively hum of conversation. This is a realm where the pleasures of drink and camaraderie converge, set in motion by games and gambles that shape the night's fortunes. Stepping inside, you feel enveloped by the lively atmosphere, where the air is thick with the aromas of roasting meats, strong ale, and wood smoke. The tavern is packed with patrons from all walks of life, tradesmen rubbing shoulders with knights, the young mixing with the old, all drawn together by the universal impulse to unwind and connect. In this animated haven, medieval folk found not just distraction but a sense of belonging, exchanging tales and wagers in equal measure. In a corner of the room, a heated game of dice is underway, the participants eagerly watching as each tumble of the bones hints at fortune's caprice. The players cheer or groan with each turn, placing their bets and their hopes on the table, the element of risk heightening both tension and exhilaration. It becomes apparent that these games are more than mere distraction. They serve as metaphors for life's own uncertainties, embodying both the whims of fate and the courage to take a chance. These gatherings also cultivated a rich tradition of storytelling, where travelers and locals shared anecdotes with a blend of wit and wisdom. Imagine the air crackling with anticipation as a seasoned raconteur spins a tale of distant lands or daring exploits, drawing his listeners into a world conjured by thought and tongue alone. It's a scene filled with vibrant color painted by words, vibrant and vital, a reminder that the power of narrative was as strong then as it is today. The tavern games varied as widely as the patrons themselves, contributing to the evening's unfolding drama. Some, like dice, relied purely on chance, while others, like chess or drafts, demanded strategy and cunning, where players pitted intellect against their opponent's wits. Beyond mere pastime, such games were a measure of one's skills and honor, a tangible expression of both individual prowess and communal engagement. Amidst this revelry, tune yourself into the subtler notes of emotion weaving through the night. Beneath the spirited chatter, the tavern becomes a place of confessions, shared in hushed tones, secrets whispered over a pint, and friendships forged anew. Here, vulnerable truths emerge, buoyed by the liquid courage that ale and wine provide, tender moments, echoing the human need for connection. Even as the room fills with laughter and the clink of mugs, the realities of medieval life linger just beyond the tavern door. The outside world, with its demands and strictures, is easily forgotten for an evening recasting hopes and dreams on the rolls of dice and choices of storytellers. It is a space where hierarchy bends under the guise of shared humanity, every toast a token of camaraderie experienced at the heart of warmth and fellow spirits. Of course, for historians, the nightly happenings of these spaces stir endless curiosity. The blending of historical fact with imagined folklore paints a multifaceted picture worth exploring even, as questions linger about the specific mechanics of medieval pastimes and their societal influences. Here, there's room to ponder whether excessive gaming was seen as a vice or as an acknowledged reprieve from a life filled with toil and challenge. Or did it reveal deeper truths about the values of risk and reward, already present in the fabric of medieval existence? These historical inquiries dance with the shadows cast by oil lamps, inviting both speculation and reflection. As the night draws deeper, the tavern remains a beacon of warmth and light, inviting you to linger a bit longer among the hum of shared humanity. Yet you know your journey still holds more stories, more echoes of past joys and woes, and the path to rediscover them calls you onward. Let the spirited atmosphere of the tavern impart its warmth as you venture into the next chapter. Leave behind the comforting noise, for the night has more songs to give you, tales of theatre and emotive expression that amplify life's drama, waiting just beyond the unfolding curtain of medieval storytelling. Take this gentle reminder of timeless nights and shared experiences forward with you, deeper into the sprawling canvas of time, where new stories breathe, inviting you to continue exploring the ever-expanding world of history's dreams. With the memories of laughter and the roll of dice fading behind you, the evening sky offers a familiar slate-black canvas, beckoning you toward the alluring world of medieval theatre. Theatre, with its intoxicating blend of drama, comedy, and human emotion, was a vital thread in the rich tapestry of medieval life. As you approach the low murmur of a crowd and the soft glow of torchlight, you step into a realm that transforms mere words into veiled truths, where stories dance to life upon rustic wooden stages. Imagine the scene. A bustling marketplace slowly quieting as a makeshift stage draws the attention of peasants and nobles alike. The aroma of street fare lingers in the chilly night, air-roasted chestnuts, sweet honey cakes, mingling with the scent of candle wax melting in wrought-iron sconces. In the midst of this swirling ambience, players wait in the wings, their vibrant costumes, vibrant echoes of the stories about to unfold. Medieval theatre was a sundry fairer blend of the sacred and the profane, where mystery plays depicting biblical tales coexisted with farcical comedies parodying everyday life. Each performance transported its audience away from the drudgery of routine, unraveling narratives that reflected joys, sins, and values. This art form, delicate and powerful, held the power to open hearts and implant ideals through its unparalleled blend of story and spectacle. As the performance begins, you feel the crowd's anticipation, palpable and shared. The actors, both men and women on different stages of Europe, despite social constraints, stake their places, voices projecting to reach even those on the fringe of the gathering. Here, the past and present merge seamlessly, entwined in plots ranging from sin and repentance to love and folly. Every tale a mirror of medieval life, reflecting its diversity and unity. Among popular performances were the morality plays, where allegorical characters such as virtue, vice, and everyman figures grappled with moral dilemmas that resonated across boundaries of class and creed. These narratives served as both entertainment and instruction, subtly imparting the values of humility, charity, and temperance on an audience eager for enlightenment. The performances unfolded with all the gravity and grace expected of tales helmed by celestial themes, aiming not just to amuse, but to educate and provoke reflection. At the opposite end of the spectrum lay the moral-free romp of comedic farces, brimming with innuendo, physical humor, and irreverent satire. These lively performances offered an unrestrained celebration, where characters like mischievous servants or foolhardy knights bumbled through predicaments, inviting laughter while gently highlighting the absurdities of the human condition. Such plays winked knowingly at societal norms, allowing audiences to hold a light-hearted mirror to themselves and their world. As the lanterns flicker and faces come alive in the dim glow, historians ponder the complex role theatre played in medieval society. Was it merely a distraction, a delightful escape, or did it serve a deeper function as an informal barometer of contemporary beliefs and values? The records of such performances, sparse yet potent, continue to fuel scholarly debates. The question of whose voices were truly represented on these stages remains a fertile ground for investigation, Were all stories told, or did some narratives remain forever unseen? Importantly, this storytelling space extended beyond the literal stage. Pageants and tableaux paralleled plays, weaving visual stories in processions and ephemeral art forms that stirred wonder, from crowded market squares to the noble estate's opulent halls. These spectacles amplified medieval reflection and expression, underscoring the desire to connect with the intangible dance of the personal and collective. As the final act draws to a close, applause breaks the evening calm, thunderous and heartfelt. You are left with the undeniable sense of community and introspection shared by those gathered a circle united around narratives that capture the essence of the human journey. With the story's echoes resounding in your mind, another chapter awaits, beckoning you onward. The communal warmth, spun from dramatic tales and merriment mixed with windows to the past, stays with you, guiding each step. Leave behind this living canvas as you navigate further into the folds of history, entranced by the humming cadence of time that pulses toward the skyward wonders and celestial visions that will unfold as night continues its whispering reign. Stay a little longer in this theatre, letting the stories linger before another curiosity directs the evening's path through the stars, where folklore and faith converge to weave tales etched in the celestial vault. Together, let us navigate the starry night, aligning our dreams with sands and shadows as we step once more into the vibrant world of medieval inhabitants. There is a buzz in the air, a calling to adventure just beyond, where faint lore dances under moonlit glow. Let your heart be your compass, guiding you to cross the mystical tides where Fairground Feasts await with open hearts and welcoming arms. As we press onward, tales of enchantment linger, gently beckoning your ears to listen to the echo of footsteps that tread through an ageless continuum, binding us in narrative and discovery. These stories, whispered through time, remind us that we are part of the ever-expanding universe, luminaries combusting in myth as celestial fables paint a shared cosmic journey. So, with each nightfall step, stroll forward in this journey of exploration, lighting each path with the embers of knowledge gathered like constellations in the infinite sky, tucked tenderly in memory. Whether guided by ancient skies or modern wisdom, may your own stories add brilliant, untold chapters to this timeless tapestry. In the end, we remain wanderers, explorers in the journey of human odyssey, stretching hands through time, grasped firmly by a constellation of kindred spirits. Continue weaving brightly your earthly and astronomical narratives into this grand cosmos tapestry, spinning adventure from stardust, even as the horizon bends forward. Embark forward under starlit canopy, ever higher in pursuit of wonder, fused with whispers, awaiting the fairgrounds where throngs of life greet each new tale in joyous anticipation. Our shared narrative arcs over ever-changing skies are celestial bound that, like the night itself, entices and embraces simultaneously. As the echo of applause fades into the night, and the final wisps of theatre lights dim against the backdrop of a starry sky, you find yourself drawn to the celestial wonders, above a time when the heavens served as both canvas and narrative for medieval life. This is where celestial chills were felt, a realm both scientific and mystical, where people looked skyward for guidance, inspiration, and sometimes dire portents. The medieval night sky was far clearer than what you might see today, untainted by artificial lights and filled with a luminous carpet of stars. Standing in a quiet field or on a hill crest, you feel the expansive universe stretching overhead, where constellations blaze pathways across the cosmos, each with stories older than memory itself. The air is crisp, with the scent of dewy grass, and a gentle night breeze carries mysterious whispers from distant times. For medieval Europeans, the heavens were considered a divine scroll upon which the stories of gods and men were written, a cosmic narrative intertwined with fate and faith. Astrology, the interpretation of celestial bodies' movements, blended seamlessly with daily life and decision-making. Noble and humble alike sought the insights of astrologers who interpreted the dance of the stars and the wandering paths of planets to predict earthly events. In dimly lit chambers, adorned with astrolabes and celestial maps, medieval astrologers studied stellar alignments, casting horoscopes that promised revelatory glimpses into the personal paths of kings, merchants, and farmers. Did certain stars portend prosperity or ruin? Such was the eternal debate, where both skeptics and true believers sought answers in the vast celestial sweep. The art of astrology bridged cultures, its roots extending back through countless generations. Greek, Islamic, and Indian influences merged into a potent intellectual tradition that both illuminated and confounded. Knowledge of the star Sahar, a riddle burning brightly, conveyed power, and to understand its language was to wield sway over the tapestry of time itself. But historians still debate the depth of astrology's influence. Was it mere superstition, a way to read meaning into the incomprehensible, or did it genuinely affect the course of history? Did those interpreting the skies wield real power, or did they cater to whims and hopes colored by celestial light? Beyond predictive charts and horoscopes, the medieval gaze embraced the stars through navigation and timekeeping. Mariners on endless seas looked to familiar constellations for guidance, sailing by the grand maps unfurled across the sky. The stars not only beckoned but structured life, their steady revolutions marking the rhythms of the medieval calendar and the cycles of planting and harvest. This interplay of science and storytelling carried both beauty and solemnity. Temples dedicated to celestial observation rose under those vast skies, their builders poised on thresholds of faith and reason. Cathedrals mirrored constellations in the placement of stone, and sacred sites, aligned with astronomical events, embodied both architectural marvel and metaphoric connection. Meanwhile, celestial phenomena, such as eclipses or comets, captured imagination and fear. Heralding change, they were perceived as divine messages, not merely light play in the heavens, but omens inscribed by divine will. It is said that a comet foretold the conquest of 1066, its bright tail streaming as armies clashed in firelit battles and fate turned upon a single thread. Amidst this cosmic dance, the search for understanding unfolded within ordained rhythma ballet performed to melodic tunes of awe and learning. As the medieval person drifted across the stage of life, the stars above them remained steadfast, celestial fireflies illuminating mysteries, unsolved yet keenly felt. In the quiet of this celestial night, as your eyes wander among constellations and planetary paths, you feel the chill of mystery and the warmth of continuity. Each pinprick of light offers stories yet to be fully understood, each constellation a testament to the ingenuity and imaginative breadth of those long ago whose dreams orbited around and beyond Earth's enchantments. With the night deepening and the stars standing witness above, you turn your gaze back to earthly paths, ready for tales infused with Earth's bountiful chaos and vibrant energy. Let the celestial whispers linger as you move forward through fields where festivals of light and noise collider tapestry woven in fairground feasts where smells and sounds embrace. There, in the unfolding chapters ahead, you'll find the buzz of medieval life's frenzied moments, each step discovering wonders, etched beyond the gleam of Starson invitation. Easy as night to keep exploring the enchanted past and all its vivid tales. As the canopy of stars recedes behind you, your journey leads to a tapestry of sounds and colours, unfolding at the heart of medieval revelry, lively world of the medieval fair. Imagine stepping into a sprawling fairground, its air electric with anticipation and an energy that seems to pulse with life itself. In this bustling arena, both spectacle and simplicity hold sway as sights, sounds, and smells merge in a vibrant symphony. The fairground is alive, a kaleidoscope of activity where humanity convenes to trade, celebrate, and delight in the communal spirit. Stalls are laden with an array of goods, brightly coloured fabrics draped in alluring folds, spices and treats shipped in from distant lands, and the tantalizing aroma of sizzling meats mingling with the sweetness of honey cakes. Shouts of vendors fill the air, their voices rich with promise and persuasion as they entice passers-by to linger and partake of their wares. In such spaces, vibrant intersections between commerce and celebration, people gathered to feast their senses on myriad sights and sounds. The fair offered more than commerce. It was a time of indulgence, where sensory experiences lifted spirits and expanded imaginations. In a world where the everyday was laced with toil, the fair represented a playground of possibilities, glimmers of the extraordinary within the ordinary stretches of time. The laughter of the crowd swells as games and contests draw spectators and participants alike. Jugglers deftly toss flaming torches, defying gravity to the delight of onlookers, while acrobats and dancers weave wonder with their grace and agility. At the heart of the space, carved under brightly coloured tents, players gather for lively tournaments, their raucous cheers resonating across the ground. Restless energy hums through the expectant crowd as contests narrow, vying for pride, a small purse, or even just the triumphant shout of victory. Field games like tug-of-war and sack races turn strangers into allies, and laughter into a forgotten rival. Even here, the humblest of contests forge bonds from shared moments, expanding the tapestry embroidered with myriad threads. Small stages host plays that spring to life, with grand tales infused with humor and heroism, leaving audiences entranced. In tucked-away corners, storytellers spin tales of lands far beyond the horizon's edge, their words a form of magical transport, carrying listeners on mental journeys sparked by plots of love, deception, and redemption. The beating heart of the medieval fair lies within its culinary delights, those tantalizing morsels more vibrant than dreams' imagination. Imagine roasted meats, dripping with savory juices, the golden crust crunching beneath the bite, rustically wrapped in thick, crusty bread. The scent of baking fills the air as pies and pastry-sapple tarts and spiced donuts tempт with their sweet offerings, enveloping the fairgrounds in happiness encapsulated by scent alone. Historians often muse over the role these gatherings played in medieval life. Some argue that they offered more than merriment; they served as cultural melting pots, places where the exchange of ideas mingled and simmered into more than recipes alone. Fairs connected provinces like thread through fabric, weaving patterns of shared identity, and tickled human curiosity of worlds beyond known horizons. Did they, in their myriad forms, act as both respite and catalyst for societal cohesion? Or did the revelry simply offer a temporary escape, a mere indulgence before returning to the grind of everyday existence? The question remains as captivating and layered as the fairground's own bustling landscape. Regardless of interpretation, these pulsating centres of celebration, the medieval fairgrounds brought with them a confluence of festival, market, and carnival spirit. The dancers and dreamers, the sellers and storytellers each, played their role beneath technicolor banners flapping in the breeze, merging voices and visions into a single, collective experience. As the day's sun drifts below the horizon and shadows begin their silent takeover, the fairground remains enveloped in the warmth of torches and the gentle glow of lanterns. While twilight adds a magical ambience, you reflect on the unfolding richness of these gatherings, spinning connections across the weaving fabric of society. With the festive notes of the fair lingering in the air, the next chapter awaits within your nocturnal path. As you tread forward to discover stories of intrigue and curiosity, let joy's echoes enrich your steps. Feel the vibrant grooves of history's pulse as you explore deeper currents of this bygone world, marveling at the artful play between shadow and time. Now, leaving behind the laughter and shimmering tents, your journey beckons through chapters laden with intricate tapestries, lined with whispers of danger, poisons, and psychology akin to riddles floating on feathery winds. Between each stanza of night, distilled tales emerge, inviting continued exploration and inviting shared revelations. Leaving the vibrant hustle and gentle laughter of the fairground behind, you delve into a world that both intrigues and unnerves, a shadowy labyrinth where poisons and psychology entwine. This is a realm where the boundaries between healer and harm, truth and deception, blur like smoke, spiraling from a simmering cauldron. Step quietly into this domain, where knowledge could be a sharp, double-edged sword, wielded with both care and cunning. In a dimly lit chamber, the atmosphere thickens with intrigue. Shelves line the walls, brimming with bottles and vials, intricately labelled in a code understood by very few. The scents of dried hemlock and belladonna mingle with the heady aroma of rare spices, creating an olfactory map of danger hidden beneath the guise of healing. It's a place where the science of herb and potion meets the art of persuasion, and where one's intent could make all the difference between life and death. In medieval times, poisons held a notorious fascination. Their potential for both harm and healing enshrined them in a web of secrecy and awe. Knowledge of toxic substances was deeply intertwined with the medical practice of the time. After all, the line between poison and cure was often as thin as the slip of a healer's hand. Those skilled in botany could navigate this perilous dichotomy, crafting remedies from nature that soothed suffering, or concoctions that whispered final farewells. The era was rich with tales of master poisoners who, like shadowy alchemists, wielded deadly knowledge. These figures, both feared and respected, inhabited the peripheries of society, their skills sought after for purposes both benign and fittingly sinister. Picture the veiled expressions of intrigue and desperation, as nobles and commoners alike sought their services, hoping to sway fate through either health or subtle manipulation. Poisons were also embroiled in the political machinations of courtly life. Inevitably, historians debate whether the famous deaths attributed to these toxic brews were as intentional as they were orchestrated. Was it ambition or accident that led to untimely ends? The chronicles, fraught with inconsistencies and embellished over time, continue to provoke questions. With no definitive answers, intrigue stirs curiosity, as historians carefully peel back layers of myth and reality, seeking whispers within the folds of the past. Beyond the physical effects of these substances lay their psychological potency. The fear of poisoning, exacerbated by whispered rumors, fanned the flames of anxiety and suspicion. Was an abrupt illness the result of misfortune, or had some unseen hand stirred arsenic or deadly nightshade into the victim's goblet? Here, the alchemy of poison transcends the tangible, inhabiting a realm ruled by human psychology's unpredictable currents. As you navigate this mysterious territory, you encounter wisdom collected through trial and error, a time when medicine as we know it trembled at the borders of mythology and conjecture. Medieval healers grappled with this paradox, balancing genuine knowledge embedded in empirical tradition against the illusionary cures and the potent danger of toxins. The records they left behind served as both guides and warnings, awash in cautionary tales of love potions gone astray or draughts mixed too potent for consumption. These stories, shared in taverns and written into the margins of grimoires, stood as both tribute and reminder. To wield power is to accept the shadows that accompany understanding. In the moonlit shadows of this world of trepidation and transformation, consider the intersection where fact meets fiction, where the mind meets myth. The line between danger and salvation remains as complex today as it was then, reflecting eternal human struggles between safeguarding health and the allure of darker arts. As you retreat from the torpid mysteries of poisons, one final glance over your shoulder ensures their legends remain as echoes long after your departure. Each step forward on this journey continues to unravel tales wrapped in time, leading to greener landscapes and the peaceful isolation of hearts where quiet contemplation guides the quills of thought. The path ahead promises pause for reflection, intoning the wisdom of the past with reverberance to the present. Find sanctuary within whispers of paper and ink, grasping the ephemeral threads of knowledge before settlers of dust fall quietly, whispering their way into the silent eternity of the quiet quills that await your approach. Leaving behind the shadowy realm of poisons and plots, you find solace in a quieter sanctuarian oasis for the soul amid the chaos of medieval life. This is where quiet quills meet the dense and enveloping silence of scriptoria, where the written word holds sway and time itself seems to pause in reverence to the scratching sounds of a quill upon parchment. Here, stories are trapped within the ink, waiting patiently to whisper their tales to those who seek refuge in their pages. The scriptoria of medieval monasteries were tranquil havens, sacred spaces where monks devoted themselves to the art of copying manuscripts and maintaining the written heritage of the past. Imagine the soft light of a candle flickering gently against stone walls, the faint scent of beeswax mingling with that of parchment, worn leather bindings, and ink. This is a place of profound concentration, where the tactile and sensory experience of writing manuscripts is as reflective as it is transformative. In the hushed stillness, the act of writing becomes a meditative practice, allowing the scribe to detach from worldly concerns and focus instead on the rhythmic dance of quill strokes. The creation of illuminated manuscripts was a labor of love and devotion, an exercise in patience and artistry, where each page took on an ethereal quality, imbued with divine inspiration. Delicate illustrations, ornate borders, and gilded initials transformed these manuscripts into resplendent art forms that married literary wisdom and visual beauty. These pages held more than sacred scripture. They carried a plethora of medieval thought, from scientific treatises and philosophical musings to poetry and folklore. As the scribe's hand glided across the page, weaving each letter with care and intent, they recorded the essence of human curiosity and creativity, casting nets of ink to preserve knowledge for future generations. Beyond the monasteries, the power of the quill extended into the realms of courtly romance and chivalric tales. Troubadours and poets captured the imaginations of readers with epic sagas that conveyed the ideals of love, honor, and adventure. In this literary world, the written word bridged distances both physical and metaphorical, creating connections between princes and peasants, between distant times and the present moment. Yet, even within this realm of intellect and enlightenment, debates persisted about the privilege of literacy and the availability of written knowledge. Historians probed these layers with a sharpened curiosity, pondering whether these treasures were truly accessible beyond the cloisters or confined to the elite. Did books alter the course of cultural evolution, or were they locked away, serving only those who already held power and understanding? Despite these debates, the power of the written word remained undeniable. Manuscripts traveled across lands, bridging cultures as they disseminated ideas, igniting sparks of innovation, debate, and sometimes defiance. The quiet humility of a scriptorium belied its monumental role as a crucible for the exchange of enlightenment that sparked the march of progress on a timeline stretching far across centuries. Within the dusts of these quiet spaces, another paradox surfaced: the evolution from beautiful, singular written works to the quest for the multiplication and sharing of ideas. It was a natural progression, mirroring a growing thirst for shared wisdom as the medieval world crept forward. In the darkened corners of scriptoria, the seeds for the dawn of the printing press were unwittingly sown, fermenting in ink's deepest pools of possibilities. As your steps lead you beyond the shadowy quiet of the scriptoria, you carry with you the assurance that even the most humble of quiet, quill-scratched pages can be powerful conduits of change. They wield transformative magic far beyond their ink-stained plates, sharing humanity's greatest hopes through silent aspirations outlined across time. Take with you the stories held within their leaves, a gentle reminder of the beauty of expression interwoven with purpose, a point on the continuum that reaches across time's tapestry. As dawn nears and the echoes of quills are left behind, the path beckons to freshly inked chapters waiting in the romance and mystery ahead. Let your journey find new resonance in hearts and tokens of love, transmuted through tender moments in love-struck potions that wait patiently along your course. The tales unfold gently as you turn once more toward the rhythmic heart of history, step by silent step, on this prolonged voyage through the past. As the gentle echoes of quills fade into the background, you are drawn toward the ripples of a new chapter, a world where love and alchemy merge, promising the allure of tender moments and whispered secrets captured within the vials of love's potions. It's a realm where the heart yearns and imagination soars, entangling itself in magic that promises connection and transformation. In the flickering dusk of a medieval cottage, you find yourself amidst the soft glow of candlelight and the delicate aromas of herbs and flowers. The air is rich with the scent of rose petals, lavender, and freshly crushed mint, mingling with the earthy notes of honey and spices. This is a place where those driven by love's desire craft potions that hold vows to ignite or soothe the heart. Love potions in the medieval world were an art steeped in both folklore and hope, a tantalizing blend of the natural and the supernatural, promising to strengthen bonds or ignite passions. These elixirs were crafted with intentions as diverse as the hearts that sought them, each brew a secret recipe that blended ancient wisdom with individual desire. The making of a love potion was a delicate process, akin to the crafting of dreams. Herbs known for their aphrodisiac properties, such as damiana, yarrow, and vervain, were carefully measured and mixed with honey and wine to produce a concoction designed to captivate the heart and mind. Roots like mandrake, steeped in their shadowy legends, found new life in these amorous brews, promising an otherworldly allure to those seeking its enchantment. Whispers of these potions traveled far and wide, crossing borders and classes, From noble courts to humble villages, the promise of love in a bottle intrigued and enticed those hungry for the tenderness they carried. The unattainable became tangible, wrapped in the mysteries of love sealed within the vial. Yet, the true depth of their power remained a matter of speculation. Historians still argue whether these elixirs truly possessed the potency to turn the tides of the heart, or whether their power lay in the intoxicating nature of belief itself. Was it the chemistry of the potion's ingredients, or the alchemy of hope that fanned the flames of devotion? The essence of these concoctions remains as enigmatic as the emotion they sought to harness. Love potions also faced scrutiny from religious and moral authorities, who regarded them with suspicion, fearing the disruption of natural order. Was it right, they pondered, to meddle with Cupid's bow and pluck the heart's strings unnaturally? Such philosophical debates hinted at deeper anxieties about control, choice, and the sacred dance of fate and freedom. As you contemplate this, imagine the heartache of those who place their faith and their hearts within these bottled promises. For every tale of yearning answered and passion kindled anew, stories of unrequited love and dissatisfied lovers haunted the fringes, standing testament to the tangled messiness of the human heart. Even with the aid of potions, desire remained a fickle mistress, capricious and elusive. But beyond mere longing, these love potions spoke of a yearning core in humanity, desire for connection, warmth, and companionship that transcends time and place. They remind us that the quest for love has been, and will always be, one of life's most enduring pursuits. The illusions bottled in their enchanted waters serve as reminders of hope, eternal, and dreams everlasting. Now, as the scene slips from your view, stepping forward in time toward new tales whispered on the air, their essence remains with you. Each step onward rebuilds romanticized visions into reality, while love's inherent magic lingers like a fragrant embrace around your journey's path. As twilight deepens and the winding roads of history call you forward, prepare to enter another world of contemplation and quiet reflection, where meditation's quiet heartbeat marries the serene solemnity of monasteries. With hearts humbled yet emboldened by meditative mysteries, your journey flows quietly through knowledge and love, infused by the appealing charm of whispered harmonies. As the twilight deepens into a quiet dusk, you find yourself drawn to the serene solitude of a medieval monastery, where tranquility reigns and meditation weaves its silent magic. This is a world removed from the tumult and noise of daily life, where minds wander inward like flowing rivers returning to their source. It's a place where the pursuit of spiritual understanding finds form in deep contemplation and serene practices, gently inviting the weary soul to pause and reflect. The monastery stands as a bastion of silence and simplicity, its stone walls softened by the gentle glow of evening. Within, monks and nuns engage in their timeless routines, their lives attuned to the rhythms of nature and the sacred cadence of prayer. The air here is potently serene, filled with the rich scent of beeswax and the soft shuffle of sandals against stone floor, symphony of quietude guiding you inward. In the heart of the monastery is the cloister, a tranquil courtyard nestled amid arched corridors and perfectly tended gardens. It's a sanctuary for meditation, where the gentle rustle of leaves and the melodic chirping of birds create a harmonious backdrop for reflection. Here, under the fading vestiges of daylight, minds explore the contours of thought, free from the distractions of the outside world. Meditation in medieval times was a deeply spiritual practice, with roots interwoven through various religious traditions. In this setting, it transcended the physical, offering practitioners a chance to commune with the divinito, seek wisdom beyond the confines of earthly concerns, and touch the infinite. Through contemplation, monks and nuns pursued an inner tranquility believed to align them with transcendent truths. This practice wasn't limited to monastic life. Lay people, too, embraced meditation as a means to enrich their spiritual journeys. It offered a gentle path to personal insight, a way to explore the self and its connection to the greater whole. Some sought meditation for solace, while others pursued it for the glimpse of enlightenment. It promised passage through still waters to the serene shores of understanding. The mystics, those revered seekers of divine union, often spoke of visions and insights that came during such profound contemplation. Figures like Meister Eckhart and Hildegard of Bingen penned writings laced with the essence of their spiritual revelations, rich with symbolism and introspection. Their experiences stood testament to the transformative power of meditation, the quiet whispers of the eternal captured in words that echoed through the ages. Yet, scholars continue to ponder the exact nature and influence of medieval meditation. Was it a universal experience, enriching lives across social strata, or was it the privilege of those within cloisters' hallowed walls? Historical records, though fragmentary, suggest threads of diverse practices, linking medieval contemplation with modern understandings of mindfulness and self-awareness. At its core, meditation served as a counterbalance to the frenetic pace of medieval life, a sanctuary of stillness within an endlessly turning world. It offered a reminder of the inner landscape, a space where the complexities of the mind could unfurl like petals in the sun's gentle embrace. For those seeking solace or understanding, meditation was a haven, an opportunity to find peace in the comfort of their own presence. As you drift through this serene scene, allow yourself a moment of quiet reflection. Across the centuries, beyond place and time, the quest for deeper understanding remains a constant binding thread. It is the gentle pursuit of meaning, a homage to the soul's capacity for both contemplation and calm. Leaving this tranquil realm behind, once more you venture onward, cradling the serenity of the monastery's sanctuary as a soft balm for the path ahead. The quiet lull of meditation acts as a bridge, leading you from the sanctified whisper of cloisters into the curious realm of eccentric beliefs and bizarre practices that paint the historical canvas with unexpected colors. Prepare to step forward into the world of peculiarities, where the boundaries of reason stretch into the extraordinary and history's quirkier chapters unfold with intrigue and curiosity. Let the soothing echoes of contemplation remain, guiding you as you explore the more whimsical aspects of a world rich with both reverence and wonder. Leaving behind the serene refuge of meditation, the path ahead unravels toward the eccentric realm of medieval beliefs and practices, a world where the curious and the peculiar danced hand in hand. Here, where the borders of superstition and ingenuity blurred, tales of the unusual found fertile ground to bloom. This whimsical landscape showcases the creativity and imagination of a time when explanations for life's mysteries embraced the extraordinary and downright bizarre. Step into this peculiar realm, where the air hangs thick with stories of odd traditions and enigmatic ceremonies. Picture a village square, bustling with anticipation as common folk gather to celebrate with rituals passed down through generations. The scent of aromatic herbs and incense swirls through the air, hinting at a curiously layered past. One such practice that peppers the annals of history with intrigue is the medieval belief in animal courts. Imagine small woodland creatures, foxes, squirrels, and hedgehogs brought to trial where charges of crop damage or theft were read before a judge. These trials, governed by an elaborate sense of justice imbued with storytelling and entertainment, might seem fanciful, yet they reveal the medieval penchant for anthropomorphizing nature and seeking order in chaos through humorous means. Travel down this vibrant path, where the medieval fear of evil spirits intertwined with imaginative warding rituals. Superstitions abounded, with practices designed to protect homes and bodies from malevolent entities. Among the curious beliefs was the notion that a horseshoe hanging above a doorway could repel evil, an enduring symbol of good fortune and protection that continues to linger in popular culture today. Rituals to rid a house of ghosts often entailed processed iron, interwoven with spells, and echoes of prayer spoken aloud in church latina, fusion of faith and folklore that underscored the fascinating blend of religion and superstition. Measures such as nailing pieces of rowan wood to door lintels or framing windows with lavender were seen as practical defenses against the unseen forces, believed to lurk in dark corners and shadowed spaces. Then there's the curious custom of sign eating, where an individual known as a sign eater would consume bread and ale over a deceased body to absorb their sins, ensuring safe passage to the afterlife for those unable to make confessions. This practice speaks to medieval concerns about purgatory and the soulful weight of earthly transgressions, captivating modern historians and sparking debates on its origins and prevalence. Among these peculiar customs sat medieval medical beliefs, often towing the line between science and the surreal. Remedies included the use of astrology to determine auspicious times for bloodletting, or the application of cured spiderwebs to open wounds, showcasing a world less governed by empirical success and more led by the nebulous faith in universal balance. Historians explore these practices with a blend of curiosity and skepticism, pondering whether they were earnest attempts at order or merely entertainment veiled in ritual. Were these traditions rooted in ancient wisdom now lost, or were they simply the innocent products of vivid imaginations, unfettered by modern reasoning? Despite their idiosyncratic nature, these beliefs offer fascinating insights into the medieval psyche. They illuminate how people navigated a complex world filled with incomprehensible mysteries, seeking to exercise some dominion over nature's whims and the spiritual with symbolic gestures. In this time, when immediate causes and effects were often muddled, creativity provided a means of making sense of the uncertainties that filled everyday life. As the last echoes of these eccentric tales settle around you, consider the ingenuity these traditions required and the shared sense of community they fostered. They remind us that though time articulates its passing in heartbeats and seconds, our shared imaginations remain unyieldingly adventurous. Easing away from this realm of wonder, you step onward, your journey weaving through fertile grounds where uncanny practices of gendered experiences await. Here, the rhythm of age-old traditions illuminates hidden spaces and diverges into narrative lines that pulse with echoes of half-remembered songsa, prelude to the unfolding stories that chart life along the boundaries of belief and experience. As you venture further, let the echoes of curiosity illuminate your path, guiding you deeper into history's embrace. Leaving the peculiar world of medieval superstitions and unique customs behind, your journey guides you toward the nuanced tapestry of gendered experiences in medieval society, a time when the roles and expectations of men and women, though distinct, were continuously entwined in both everyday life and extraordinary events. Here, stories unfold that reveal the threads binding manifold experiences into the rich fabric of medieval community. Upon entering a modest hall, warmed by the soft glow of firelight, you are met with a scene that plays out both in shared spaces and in subtle separations, a gathering where traditions and roles blend into a dynamic social dance. Picture the women nestled around looms and spindles, their fingers deftly weaving and spinning. The air hums with the gentle cadence of whispered stories and laughter, a timeless chorus, binding them together through shared tasks and confidences. In these communal spaces, textile work transcends function, becoming a canvas for storytelling and strengthening social bonds. Through the rhythm of warp and weft, women share news, advice, and tales of both joy and hardship, stitching camaraderie into every piece. Their hands, guided by tradition and tempered by creativity, reflect a deep understanding of the cycle of life, an art form both practical and expressive in its understated grace. Beyond weaving, women were keepers of the hearth, managing households, nurturing families, and practicing herbal medicine. Their roles as healers reflect a profound mastery of the natural world, imparted through generations. Herbal remedies crafted in shadowed kitchens held the powers of lore and exploration, mixing faith with practice to provide comfort and care. Meanwhile, the men gather in parallel through the lively dialogues of guilds and confraternities, places where labor and social discourse intertwine. Craftsmanship takes center stage. Carpenters, blacksmiths, and masons contribute to the building of society, their skills honed through both tradition and innovation. Guilds provide not only professional training, but also a sense of stepping into time's echoed dance, connecting master to apprentice and securing collective prosperity. These gatherings often broaden into festive occasions, where the merriment of food and song transcends gender divisions. In taverns filled with the rich hustle of alehouse tales, or in grand fetes held by the gentry, men and women come together, united by passion and curiosity. Despite the societal structure, the complexities of gender roles remain a subject of fascination for historians. Was there true cohesion, where experiences interwove effortlessly, or were there fractures beneath the fabric, a fierce guard of roles meted out by normative pressures? The balance of collaboration and confinement continues to speculate, where domestic and communal spheres pivot around imagined belonging and resilience. As you muse over these woven experiences, think on the fluid spaces where gender roles gain freedom to evolve and adapt. While historical records primarily represent the perspectives of the elite or ecclesiastical authorities, there lies a whispered narrative within of individuals who transcended boundaries through acts of courage and subtle defiance. Indeed, legends and records hint at those who chose unconventional paths. Women such as Joan of Arc led armies, challenging preconceived societal roles, while tales of female brewers, merchants, and midwives reveal underlying complexities in the web-like tapestry of medieval society. These individuals wove new threads into the social fabric, crafting stories of resilience, wisdom, and quiet revolt. Gendered experiences within history reveal the vibrant interplay of voices and the quest for agency. The stories of everyday individuals, whose names may have been lost to time, speak to the universal desire for connection and expression echoes carried on the winds like psalms of time. Consider these earnest whispers as you move forward on your journey, carrying with you a nuanced understanding of medieval life. Each story provides a glimpse into the textures of history and its enriched complexity, even as shadows play across the landscapes of yore. Within this symphony of experience, your path winds ever forward into bustling markets and thriving trade routes, a world infused with culture and interconnection. Let each step resound with the echoes of past lives, holding within them both the mysteries and revelations that continue to carve time's journey. Seek always wonder and wisdom in the histories that await, weaving through narratives bold and new, as they emerge softly and powerfully on the horizon. As the dark shadows of the plague-touched past linger behind you, the truth of the era's paradoxes glimmers like dawn on the horizon, an era of hardship, tempered with unexpected euphoria. This juxtaposition offers a vivid perspective on resilience amid adversity, manifesting in behaviors and beliefs that stretch our understanding of human nature. As you tread carefully through this narrative of survival, you discern how medieval society rose from its ashes, painted with a palette of contrasts found in the heart of chaos. We revisit the streets of the medieval town, where the Black Death's grip had once threatened to stifle life itself. Yet, as the menace receded, its poignant reminders etched into memory, what emerged was a community marked not only by loss, but astonishing vitality. The widespread devastation had loosened rigid social structures and norms, yielding its survivors a rare chance to reassess their roles within a dramatically altered world. In the personal domain, individuals embraced the precious fragility of life, engaging in acts of spontaneity and joy threatened against the canvas of mortality. To live boldly, in some cases, became a defiant act against the ever-present spectre of death. Revelry, often seen as folly in cloistered times, was welcomed as cathartic release, a potent antidote to dwelling within shadows. Celebrations flourished, unexpected and plentiful, lighting up the remnants of gloom with flickering joy. Amidst the disenchantment, a surge of creativity blossomed, artists and thinkers driven to capture both the somber tones and vibrant hues of human experience. The existential questions inspired by the plague found expression in literature, art, and music, giving rise to an era marked by reflection and experimentation. Creative hearts gleaned insights from despair, wielding them as brushes to paint rich, evocative narratives that immortalized their triumphs and tribulations alike. Despite this creative flowering, the vexing question remains: was this shift a reaction born of desperate need to find meaning within chaos, or a genuine evolution of societal values? Historians propose theories of both, suggesting that while some actions were springboards fueled by desperation, others stemmed from an earnest pursuit of balance between the ephemeral and the eternal. The late medieval period, as it negotiated the wake of the plague's devastation, carried forward an appreciation for expansive thought and individual empowerment. Survivors grew attuned to the transient nature of life and began asserting desires and dreams previously kept in check. Embracing education, pursuing philosophical debates, or redefining personal relationships reflected the era's evolving aspirations, forging pathways out of darkness into the fertile soil of reimagination. Even as communities rebuilt from ruins, they embarked on new social contracts that acknowledged life's fragility expressed as reflections on the need for compassion, solidarity, and a sharing of burdens. In the face of profound transformation, a profound resilience shone through, illuminating society's ever-growing narrative built upon the silent whispers of yesteryears. In these newly formed paradigms, medieval society quietly set the stage for future exploration and upheaval. It was a fertile time of passage that led to the Renaissance, infused by currents set in motion by individuals who dared embrace the fleeting highs and the enduring lows with equal fervor. With humanity reborn from trials and epiphanies, each enduring survivor, a symbol of recursive strength, life continued its onward dance across the turning seasons. Thus, as this exploration into the paradox of plague-induced euphoria draws to a close, look forward to the final leg of this journey. Prepare for the view that reflects upon this multifaceted narrative, where you have traversed and find within it a timeless echo of learning, understanding, and remembrance. The legacy of surviving souls hums softly as you approach the final curtain, carrying with you the stories, laughter, and tears weaved together across history's profound continuum. Let the bridge between past and present guide you wisely as you complete this journey through time, each step echoing with the spirit of resilience and unforgettable tales, tracing ephemeral sparks that forever illuminate the human heart. As the colorful threads of your journey weave toward their conclusion, the tales of medieval highs and dynamic lives gently unfurl into a final grand tapestry, a mosaic of stories, emotions, and enduring wonders. This tapestry, vibrant with the voices and visions of centuries past, speaks of the richness of human experience, a journey through time that leaves a lasting imprint on the soul. The narrative gently pulls you back through each chapter. You've traversed the brews of medieval lore, bubbling in cauldrons, echoing the laughter from the alehouses, and mingling with the fragrant incense of sacred spaces. Each tale, like a candle flickering against the cool night air, offers its own glow, casting warm and inviting shadows that breathe life into memories held close. In the tranquility of these closing moments, the vibrant fairgrounds become mere whispers and gentle laughter that echo through the streets, where the spectral dance between celebration and contemplation plays on. The trials and triumphs of communities grappling with plague, density, the pursuit of solace, and the joy of survival reflect life's enduring dance of finding beauty in ephemeral moments. Allow these recollections to settle within you, each a note in a harmonious song that celebrates both the complexity and simplicity of a world long past. The delicate interplay of highs and lows reveals the timeless dance of human emotion. At its heart beats the rhythm of shared stories, their cadence vibrating softly through the corridors of time. As you prepare to leave this woven past, heed the whispers of history, now etched within your being. The stories told here are not merely records of days gone by. They are timeless echoes, resonating with the same hopes, fears, and dreams known to those who once walked the medieval paths you've traced. Each tale carries its own legacy, that history, far from forgotten, remains a living testament to resiliency and imagination. With tales wrapped gently around your heart, let the soft calico of dreams drape itself over you like a cherished cloak. In this space of transition, where stories lightly dissolve into the dawn's first light, you become both custodian and steward of the past, holding sacred the echoes within. Now, as you take your leave from this time of exploration and reflection, remember our journey through medieval wonder, a voyage of self and soul, illuminating paths yet to be tread. Embrace the learning and the love as you step beyond into the realm of dreams and realities yet to unfold, each shaped by shared whispers and timeless songs. And thus, the tapestry completes itself in hues, rich and diverse, awaiting new stories to join the intricate narrative. For now, rest easy in this artful sanctuary, where dreams dance softly and stories soothe the quietude of night. Sweet dreams,